Hey guys, Jason Spangler, the SanteeSwapper, back with another unboxing. This one kind of stumps me. This happens every once in a while, not very often to be honest, that I get a package in and I look at the name on the box and I'm like, yeah, I don't know who that is. And so that's happened today. I got a package in from New York, and the last name's a little unusual, and I'm like, that doesn't ring a bell. And I go in my emails and I can't find my email thread with this guy. And I really try, I have a system actually to keep track of people that are reaching out to me, contacts and stuff with these collections. And yeah, I can't find it. So hopefully in here there's some kind of a note or something. I almost never have I had someone unsolicited just send me some stuff. But I don't know, so we'll see. So let's open this box and see what came from New York. I don't know. It's it's something I really have a system for. I really do. I mean, I've gotten better at this, but every once in a while, it's like, stump the chump or something. I kind of get stumped, and I'm like, I don't remember this, and then I sort of feel like, I gotta reevaluate what I'm doing here, but who knows? There's a letter. Okay, let's see. Let's see if the name rings a bell more. Just a little bit of history behind the collection. I was raised in Ithaca, New York. Started scouting as a Cub Scout, Boy Scout, then Explorers. Was in Troop 11. I worked on summer camp staff. Went to the 64 Jamboree. Ooh, I'm liking this collection. Philmont Scout Ranch, Shift Scout Reservation. He visited the 67 World Jamboree. Was very fortunate to be in a very active troop and explorer post, and was able to travel throughout the U.S. After high school graduation in '69, our explorer post took a 3-week trip across Europe. Holy cow! No one in my family interested, so that's a way I am, and you can contact me. Neat story though. Golly, this would be a really cool collection. We got my interest now, so. And he left his contact information, so I'll definitely go back through my phone and search that. And surely he reached out to me. We had a conversation. I just don't recognize the name, so sorry. All right, so what should we start with? Let's start with neckerchiefs. So he's got them really nicely bagged up here. He mentioned in the letter that he went to the 64 Jamboree. So I'm seeing off the top here, we have 64 Jamboree, 2 of those. Visited the World Jamboree, so there you go. And then this wouldn't be surprising if he was raised in New York. Here's a 65 World's Fair. I guess it's 64, 65 was a 2-year deal. World's Fair neckerchief, the Boy Scouts who helped kind of run that or serve as ushers or some kind of service corps. And then we have the good old Philmont one still with the original tags, man. Look at that right there, still has the original tag. Of course, like these are souvenir items. Nobody ever wore them. And then he did mention going to Shift Scout Reservation, which would make sense as well. And again, the same shift neckerchiefs that everybody seems to have. Wow. I never got to go to Shift myself, but I can say I've got a few patches from there. All right, and then he mentioned working on camp staff, and so the camp that he worked at was Camp Barton. I'm not as familiar with camps up in that part of the world, but I do have a great reference guide, the camp book, that can tell me about it. So this is his staff neckerchief. And then here is the council. That's a council up in New York. And then here is a Troop 11, which I think he mentioned Troop 11. And here's another. Now, what is this guy? It says Region 2, Troop 67. I wonder, Region, 1964. I'm guessing this would have been their National Jamboree contingent neckerchief, since it mentions the region. And this was Troop 67, which could very well be a Jamboree troop. And then, 1964 is the Jamboree year. It's got the council name on it. All those add up to council contingent neckerchief. Some more event neckerchiefs here. And then this was his Order of the Arrow Lodge. This was a fall fellowship. Yeah, you don't really see this very often, a fellowship neckerchief. You often more see patches. Although in the early 70s, my lodge I grew up in, they did some fellowship neckerchiefs. So he's got a couple of those. And then here's another one, Lodge 505. 10th anniversary. All of his stuff is pristine. Gosh, he really kept good care of it. And then here's a Conclave Neckerchief, again, that Region 2, Area H. And this would have been a conclave gathering of multiple lodges, obviously. And then another OA neckerchief, so some nice stuff there. And then let's see, I'm guessing like that was the stuff that's kind of native to New York, and maybe this is the stuff that's not native to New York. Idaho Panhandle Council. No, this is another New York guy. And then here's a Philmont contingent neckerchief for those guys there. Another lodge up there, another lodge neckerchief, Idaho Panhandle, Camp Barton staff, likely another year. Then this would have been the regular issue for that. Not sure what this guy is, other than just it has the iconic Pedro Boy's Life, but not sure what that was issued for. Standard, and oh, not one in a bag. And we got one more bag of neckerchiefs, so let's go through this. Love seeing these neckerchiefs, and gosh, they really are in just beautiful condition. Sometimes I get neckerchiefs that are just super duper ragged out. They've gotten wet, and the red has bled through the yellow, and but these are really nice. So this is another troop neckerchief from his troop, and then we've seen another one of those already. Junior Leader Training, that's from the council there. And then this is a lodge neckerchief for Chi Sigma Lodge. This one's embroidered. That's really a kind of unusual design because the stitching, you know, that embroidery stitching is just very, very different than I've seen from ones from that time period. So I'm not sure who manufactured that for those guys. You know, you kind of look at it, got a little theory here, I don't know, but if you look at it, perhaps this was the original neckerchief, like silkscreened, and then somebody went over top of it. That's kind of what it looks like with this raised stitching. Somebody went over top of that and embroidered it. And I wonder if we could just look underneath here and maybe get a hint of that. But actually, I'm not sure that's what happened, because I would assume, well, I don't know. It's really hard to tell. Mystery. Love getting some mystery items in. Hey, that keeps it interesting. Again, 64, we've seen that. Seen this guy already. It's another staff neckerchief, another one of those. Another Chi Sigma that's been worn, and another troop neckerchief. So there's some really neat neckerchiefs there. Neckerchiefs are great. I love getting them in. Here we have some slides and different stuff. His Eagle Scout patch, very cool. It's got some, you know, if you went to Schiff, you had to get the Neil slide from Schiff. Similarly, if you went out to Philmont, you had to get the little ceramic Philmont neckerchief slides. I see those in lots and lots of collections. Oh man, okay. And then we also have the Eagle medal. So that is beautiful. I'll have to go back and check and see if he wrote down when he got his Eagle. He wrote me a really nice letter, so probably right in there does tell. Obviously would have been in that 1960s time period because he went to the 64 Jamboree. And here's kind of a bag of patches, so no telling what's in here with all the different stuff he did in scouting. Alright, so a couple of things off the top. Got some leather patches here. 67 Jamboree leather, a couple of other 50 miler patches. We've seen those guys before. This is a patch that's kind of interesting. So this is a council patch, and then obviously there's a blank space here. Maybe somewhere in here, this pile, we'll find what's supposed to go in that blank space, but I bet there was some segments or some kind of patch that was supposed to go there. We'll see. Well, that's kind of funky. Look at that. There is a modern Scout Stuff Back bear patch and a Bobcat patch. So somebody got involved in Cub Scouts and he ended up with these. Now, was this a grandson or what, and how did they end up in his Scout stuff? I don't know. 67 World Jamboree jacket patch. I'm not familiar with that guy. It's more modern plastic back, so it would have been from that time period. Camp Tuscarora. Okay, kind of see a little, okay, here we go. Camp Tuscarora, 1992. So that is a whole generation separate from him. So I don't think that those Cub Scout patches would have been from 1992 with the Scout Stuff Back. But you know, you kind of see this in multi-generational collections where you sort of can delineate, okay, this stuff was 20 years later than the other stuff, and that's kind of what I'm seeing a little bit of. For example, these modern council strips would not have been around during the 1960s. There's a lodge flat, but again, it has a plastic backing, so that's a little different. So just some council strips. You know, it's possible that he got back re-engaged with the program, maybe as an adult, but then again, like there's an older flap. That's a chapter flap from Lodge 252 out in Los Angeles. and it's cloth back, and so that's obviously, doesn't match the time period of these plastic backed ones here. So when I reach out to this guy, got all his contact information, I'll have to see, kind of tell me what the story is. So let's go through a nice little stack of flaps here. There's a twill flap there. That's from Maryland, and this one here, Tonkawampus, 415 from Spokane, Washington. I believe that's from the Northeast. Another one there. And Cahokia 126, I know that's got to be Midwest. Tamit's out there in California. And then Seneca, I've seen some of those as well. So the other patches in this pile appear to be more event patches, more recent event patches. Again, just kind of this mixture of old and new. Okay, here's a Philmont patch, cloth back Philmont patch, so that definitely matches that time period. That would have been the one that he would have worn. But then you have something like this, a tan, patch from the 90s. So there's a little bit of a mixture going in here. Again, the Cub Scout, this little guy here was from a different time period. And then he's got a couple of flaps here. Maybe it looks like he might have written me a little note. Let me see. So a couple of flaps there from his area. Oh, and he said this is misspelled. So it's kind of funny, like he wrote me a note to say misspelled, and then he included this guy right here. Okay, now I'm assuming what he means by misspelled, it obviously has to be the council name, but this is of course a cut edge cloth back flap, much older than these guys, probably the generation before this. And so he may have traded for this or gotten it from another family member or something, but I'm assuming that this is older than these three. And he just wanted to point out that it was misspelled, because in his memory, that's what made that patch special. That was misspelled. Maybe not so much that it was like the cut edge flap that was the first solid or something like that. So anyways, lucky for me, guys, I have this letter that says Jason on it, and I will reach out to this guy as soon as I stop recording and make sure that I get straight with him, make him an offer if we haven't already discussed on this beautiful collection. And just love getting these type of collections in. Very specific to the area he grew up in, OA patches, but it also is his time. The trip to Philmont, Schiff, World Jamboree, all that here. I don't see much evidence of Explorer Post involvement, but also Explorer Post back in those days, you didn't have a rank advancement program, things like that, and so there might not be very much patches to represent that. Even though he had great memories, there wasn't like an advancement program that would have generated a lot of patches. So Jason Spangler, the SanteeSwapper. Go to my website, scoutpatchcollectors.com. There I have some videos, I have my podcast, my newsletter, everything I'm doing in the scouting memorabilia community. Thanks very much for watching.